All right, y'all. Welcome. Oh my God. I'm so nervous. Why am I so nervous doing this? Hey, y'all. Welcome to my YouTube channel. That sounds so like, welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay, no, for real. Welcome, y'all, to my very first YouTube video. I have been putting this off for so long. It's not even funny how long I've been putting this off. I've been thinking about it for months, and I am finally doing it. Finally doing it. Super excited about it and excited to share this journey with you all. So thank you all so much for being here. If you haven't already subscribed, and I'll give you the reasons why you subscribe later, but definitely make sure you subscribe to be a part of this journey. So let's get into why I started a YouTube channel. I also have wine here, y'all, because I'm nervous. So I have a glass of wine here. So if you see me picking it up and taking a little sip, it's because I'm like super nervous. But which is funny because I am not a person who gets nervous public speaking, or I have a podcast. I don't really get nervous about that. I don't know. I just feel nervous about sharing my life and having people comment on it and having people, have their opinions on it. But if me sharing my life helps one person, then I've done all I need to do when it comes to this YouTube channel. So let's talk about it. I know you're like, who is this girl? Why is she here? So my name is Lauren. I go by Lauren Denise sometimes. If you are my friend, or, we're going to be friends in this journey. We're going to be sisters. If you're a brother watching, we're going to be family in this journey. So my family calls me Lowski. What else they call me? L Boogie. So anything that is a variation of Lauren, which is Loryn. My mom says she got it from a soap opera, so don't ask me. But this is my journey. I am 36 years old. I currently live in Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, ATL, Georgia. Are you from, if you're not from Atlanta, I guess you wouldn't know that. That's like a Lloyd thing. But apparently I'm not from Atlanta. There was a whole song a couple of years ago that sent people from Atlanta to Frizzy. But I grew up in Marietta, Georgia. I lived in Memphis for about 10 years of my life. I lived in California for a little bit. That's where I found my love of the Lakers. So if you are on here and you are not a Lakers fan, whatever. But if you are a LeBron fan who happen to be a Lakers fan, cool, welcome. But I have been a fan of the Lakers since I was about 13 years old. And so I'm just super excited to be here, super excited to be sharing with you all my journey. And so what is this channel about? You're probably like, girl, what am I here for? What am I watching? So when I decided I wanted to start YouTube, I wanted something real. I'm not saying there's not real content out here. There's a lot of content creators who are authentic and real. But for me, I am 36, like I shared, and I am in a space of trying to figure it out. And I believe what I have seen on social media a lot is all these people who have it figured out. They have the career, they have the lifestyle, they have the fashion, they have the marriage or the good relationship, they have everything. And again, I know social media, a lot of people say it's not real. And, obviously people show you like a highlight of their life. But as someone who is 36, I don't have it together. I know some people look at me and they're like, oh my God, she has held her own and she has it together, which I'll get into in a second, but I don't have it together. And I want to share my journey of trying to figure it out. And when I say figure it out, it is life, right? It is my career and what I'm doing, my business. It is dating and deciding if I really do want a spouse. It is deciding if I really want kids. It is deciding if I, want this idea of a life that I thought I wanted. It's fitness, right? Getting my health back together. It is my fashion and understanding what works for my body type and what doesn't work. It's all of those things of me trying to figure it out. And so that's what this journey is. It's me trying to figure it out and you all coming along for the ride. And so a little bit about my story is obviously I kind of told you all where I moved around, but in 2015, unfortunately, my mom passed away from breast cancer. And I was, you want to talk about somebody don't have it figured out. I was 27 at the time when my mom passed. So I was in this, young 20s. I was a flight attendant. I was just, out here, right? I was just out here. And when she passed, I don't think I ever really took the time to grieve and to understand what that meant. And then unfortunately in 2019, my dad passed away from bladder cancer. And so, what did they say? You're like an orphan, right? Me and my siblings, I have 4 other siblings. I have 3 sisters and a brother. And me and 3 of my siblings have the same mom and dad. So we are orphans. And then my oldest sister is my half sister. Her mom is still here. But it was a lot when we lost our dad. And so, that changes you, right? It forces you to grow up quickly. It forces you to face realities. If you didn't, it brings a level to grief of, that you probably didn't know existed. And that's pretty much what happened, y'all. So when my dad passed, actually, let's take a wine break, okay? In that journey, I learned that I wanted to learn more about grief. I wanted to learn more about myself and how I'm processing it. And so I started a podcast in 2020 called This Too Shall Suck Podcast, a fresh perspective on grief. I have taken pretty much almost 2 years off from recording an episode because in the midst of me starting the podcast, I also started an event planning business, which I dedicated to my parents. It's called 31102. So my dad's birthday was 3/11 and my mom's birthday was 11/02. So I put them together, 3/11/02. So that is how it came about because I have always done events. I've always been the person in my family. Some of y'all are the people in your family like, girl, can you help me plan this? Or sir, can you help me plan this? So I was always that person. When I went to school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was trying to figure it out. And I went to my counselor, told her what, kind of my background and what I've done and what I want to do. And she was like, I think you should do hospitality. I'm like, I don't even know what that means, girl, but cool story. Even though I've been working in hospitality my whole life. I started Chick-fil-A. Like that was my very first job when I was 14. And let me tell you something. Let's stop there because people be trying to play Chick-fil-A like, oh my God, that can't really be my pleasure. Yes, you do. I still say, I'm 36. I worked there when I was 14. I still say my pleasure to this day. Okay. They ingrain it inside of you. Okay. And so that was my first job, worked in restaurants, all the things, and brought me to hospitality. And from there, I learned, I took an event planning course, maybe 1 or 2, fell in love, worked in trade shows and worked in AV and learning all that stuff, became a flight attendant and had a time. Let me tell you something. When I was a flight attendant, I was in my 20s. I was 24, 25, I think. Baby, I had a time. I had a time as a flight attendant. Cheers if you are a flight attendant, okay? Because honey, I had a time. Okay, I had a time. But I had a time when I was a flight attendant, and then obviously my world got shook up when my mom passed. But had a time doing that, and then realized I don't want to do this anymore. I felt complacent. I felt like I wasn't growing. I felt like, okay, girl, you can just be on this plane, but what else are you doing? Left that and then tried the entrepreneurship thing for a little bit. And then went to school. I went and got my master's in hospitality after I got my bachelor's. God, was it 8 years after? Yeah, 8 years after I graduated, I went back and got my master's in global hospitality management. Loved it. Got a chance to work on some really cool events like the Super Bowl when it was in Atlanta. Got a chance to work at some big football games, conferences. So that I think really opened my eyes to the idea of what can be done in the event space. When I was younger, and yes, I was working in trade shows, that kind of gave me wow, this is cool. But when I got a chance to work on events like that, I'm like, oh, I can do this. Like, I can do this. So then, obviously, when my dad passed, I had just graduated from my master's. Literally, I graduated July 27th, and my dad passed August 27th. So, yeah, it was like, oh, okay, great. Happiest time of my life, most terrible time of my life. Like, literally, immediately like that. And it was a lot. Like, I really, to this day, I'm like, I don't even know how I did that. Like, people said I was just kind of walking through, because we had my dad's funeral like 10 days after he passed. And people said I was, like, they were looking at me like, is she okay? Because I've always been the person. And y'all tell me, y'all comment below if y'all are always the person in your family who is like the one, right? Like, so I was the one like helping putting everything together. Everybody was calling me. I put the funeral together, had this. Me and my sister put the program together, picked up my dad's clothes, went up to the funeral, made sure he was dressed right, made sure his hair was, all of that stuff, right? So like, comment below if you're like the one. I want to talk about that and like what that feels like, because, as much as it's interesting, like, you don't ask to be that person, but you just kind of know you're that person. And it's no shade to like my siblings. My siblings were great, like, in the whole process. Like, we had a couple arguments, of course, but that's to be expected because everyone's emotions are high. But I've heard horror stories, and me and my siblings did not, to this day, we still don't have that. Like, we get on each other's nerves, absolutely, but we still don't have like what I've heard people going through. And so, it's interesting when you're the one in certain situations. And I think we'll kind of talk about that over this journey of like what that feels like being the one in your family. Because that is, I think, a lot of the reason why I'm at where I'm at now is because I felt this pressure of being the one, And so, yeah, like once that happened, then I started working at a company. I'm not going to say their name. Started working at a company in events. And then 2020 happened, worked on virtual events, started the podcast. And then God kind of led me to say, like, you know what, like, this isn't for me, and stopped working at that company and did the entrepreneurship thing full time. Started in 2020. And I was living in Ohio at the time. I moved up to Ohio because my oldest sister found out she had breast cancer. And I was like, God, you've got to stop. You've got to be stopped, because this is too much. So my older sister found out she had breast cancer. And I don't know, like something was tugging on me. And I was like, I just got to be there for her. And moved to Ohio to be closer to her. Stayed there for a year, and it was great. And then moved to Charlotte because I just wanted to. People are like, why'd you move to Charlotte? I'm like, I wanted to. Like, I didn't want to move back to Atlanta. I feel like Atlanta, for me, there's a lot of pain attached there. Not just because, obviously, my parents are buried there, but a lot of things happened to me in life. Like, a lot of breakups, a lot of hurt, a lot of, friendships broken. A lot of things happen in Atlanta. There's a lot of pain attached to Atlanta that even when I go home, I have a great time because all of, like, my best friends are there. My siblings, minus my older sister, are there. Like, it's home. But there's a lot of pain attached there. And I felt like I couldn't be this Lauren who's in this space of figuring it out. I don't feel like I could do that in Atlanta. I just don't. And it's, I wonder if, like, being in your hometown, like, I understand why some people now move away from their hometown. And I highly suggest, if you are in a space of trying to figure it out and you are in a space of, I just don't know, like, maybe move away from your hometown. And I know it's easier said than done. Obviously, there's finances and different things involved, but I think moving away from Atlanta was probably one of the best decisions I've made. And not going back to Atlanta was probably one of the best decisions that I've made. So I would suggest that if you are in that space of you're trying to figure it out, or you just feel like, I don't know why I can't move to whatever the next level is, I would try, if you can, if you are able, and if you can work towards that, to move away. Like, give yourself space to grow into a different person. Give yourself space to be someone else and be in a city where no one knows you and you can almost recreate yourself. Like, give yourself that time to do that. And I think one of the things that we're going to talk about on this channel is, like, how do I go about making friends, creating connections? Like, how does that work? Because that's something that I have done since I'm here. Tonight, in a little bit, actually, I am going to a birthday dinner for a close friend of mine who I met here in Charlotte maybe last year. And like the tribe that I've built here and the people who support me here, I want everybody to have that. I really do. I want everybody to have that. So that's something we'll talk about too. As you can see, we're just talking about everything, right? I don't want this to be long. This is kind of like an intro. I know it's long, right? When people are like, long story short. No, girl, the story is already long. But seriously, like, we're going to talk about everything on this channel. We are going to be figuring it out. So if you are in your 30s trying to figure it out, heck, if you're in your 40s trying to figure it out, or if you're even in your 50s, I was just talking to my sisters, and my sister is in her 50s, and she's like, I feel like I haven't figured it out. I'm just not, like, I haven't taken action. I'm not an executor. And I'm an executor. Like, you'll learn in this journey that I am an executor. Like, once I figure out, okay, this is what we need to do, I'm executing on it. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about that. Like, why is it we as women, mothers, Black women, like, why are we not executing on the things that we know to do, right? So yeah, we're gonna talk about everything on this channel. So if you're, like I said, if you are a woman in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, whatever, and you just feel like, you know what, like, I don't have it figured out, we're going on this journey together. I want us to go on this journey together to try and figure it out, whatever that is for you. Maybe it's figuring out your career for you. Maybe it is figuring out dating for you and what that looks like. Maybe it's figuring out, I want to go to a different city, but I don't know what that looks like. I'm kind of scared. What is that? Maybe it's starting a business and how that works, and I don't know what that's going to look like if I do it full time. Maybe it's just I am losing weight, or I'm gaining weight, and I don't know like what to do, or I don't know how to feel. Like, am I grieving? Like, we're going to talk about grief, and obviously y'all are going to see the journey of me trying to get back to my podcast, and maybe it's trying to understand like my sense of who I am, like fashion and hair and makeup and all the things that embody who you are. We're figuring it out together. Like, I feel like 2024 is a year of relatable content, and call me your relatable content sis, because we are on this journey of figuring it out. And if you are on here like, girl, you don't have figured out, are you 36? Baby, if you have the playbook and you have it written down and it is step by step, please send it to me. Okay, please send it to your girl. But at the end of the day, and in reality, we don't have it all figured out. Like, God knows. And I am someone who is very, you will see in this journey as well, I am someone who is very rooted in Christ. And I am even trying to understand that relationship. And I have been someone who has been a follower of Christ my whole life, pretty much. And I am still trying to understand my connection with him and how to deepen that. And in these moments right now where I feel like, God, like, you're here and I trust you, but I just don't feel connected to you. And here's the reason why, right? We're going to talk about all of that on this channel. So if that is you, if you are someone who wants to go on this journey to figure it out together, whatever that is for you, please make sure you subscribe. Drop in the comments below what it is that you want to talk about, because we are in this together. I'm literally just kind of like doing this. I don't really have like a script. I don't have like a playbook. I don't have like, okay, this is what we're going to do this week. I'm just kind of being obedient of God and kind of what he's telling me to do and how he's telling me to help his people. And honestly, like, we're just figuring it out. So make sure you drop in the comments. I definitely want to talk to y'all. I love responding. I know some people are like, drop a comment. No, I love talking to people. Like, follow me on social media and we're going on this journey together. My Instagram is Lauren Denise. I make sure to drop all of that in there. And then I guess I can get on TikTok, y'all. See, like, we're figuring out about TikTok. Like, Jesus, like, figuring out about TikTok, all the things, your career, all of the things. Listen, you're not in this alone. We are figuring out life together. okay? We are figuring out making money together. We're just figuring it out. So thank y'all for watching. I truly appreciate you guys. Again, make sure you hit the subscribe button, drop a comment. Let's talk about what it is that you want. And thank you all so much again for joining me on this journey, because we are on a journey as, you know, the 30-something-year-old trying to figure out. Like, I think that's gonna be like a tagline of like, welcome back to another day of a 30-something trying to figure it out. Ooh, what y'all think? Y'all like that? I love y'all so much. We gotta figure out a name. I call people boo and bae and honey. Like, that's a southern thing. I'm like, hey, sugar. Maybe y'all be my sugars. We'll see. If y'all got like a cute name too, let me know. But I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching. I'll see y'all in the next one.